Right. Okay. Make sure the audio's working again because I switched over to new setup. New setup, new scene connection. And there was an update last. Yeah, it seems to be going all right. Okay, we are good to go. We are good to go. All right. Okay. First things first. Get the usual preamble out the way. First of all, if you're new to the channel, this is our weekly BYOC, bring your own copy of whatever it is we're going to be watching, and tonight it's going to be Back to the Future. Because of obviously copyright and stuff like that, and one of the reasons why it's called BYOC, bring your own copy, is a way to get around the copyright issues, because we're not going to be showing any audio or video from the film or TV show or whatever it is we're going to be watching, because it's not worth it. But now, you can see below me, there is, and I always got to get the line up right because I keep moving the camera, the synchronized timer. That is as you would expect it to be. That is, it synchronizes the timer so you can watch your own copy, and if you need to pause the stream, go to the toilet, bathroom or whatever, you know exactly what point we're on, or you want to skip forward because you know a certain thing's going to happen at a certain point in the film and you just want to see my reaction or chat or commentary to whatever. That's basically what it's there for. It's quite obvious, it's quite simple, and I still will start it off with a 5-second lead in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then I'll press play, activate the timer, and it all goes from there. Okay. So, something else about last night. I've managed to fix the issue with Fallout 4, that particular mission. It's something about that fight with the machinist can sometimes glitch out, and that seems to be just something that not everybody, but a lot of people are having. But there is a way you can get around it. Good evening. There is a way you can get around that fight, and that's basically what I did this morning before I had to pop out. It's literally, you go and pick up 4 tapes, and that gives you access to like a sort of back channel secret passage sort of thing, and you pop up in their lair and go, hello, and they're surprised, you don't have to go with the fight, and basically you can talk them down, and you end up with a new, not possible companion, but a new person working for you, and you also then have access to the machinist base, which you can teleport directly to, which is very, very snazzy. So yeah, it was a issue with the fight, not necessarily with the mods I was having, although they probably aggravated it. But there is a few ways, like I say, I can get around it using the console. It's just, it was a bit of a palaver. It was, I managed to fix it, but it was definitely one of those sort of ones I had to go, right, okay, that's not working. And I had to keep sort of loading previous saves like further and further back until I got to one where there wasn't an issue. But once I've done it, absolutely fine. Not had any issues since. So next week we will be continuing with Fallout 4 and Crowd Control, because I am really enjoying that. The only thing I might do off stream tomorrow is that other quest that was glitching. Try and get those down out the way so they're cleared off the log, even if I just have to manually force them progress forward sort of thing. There is a way you can do it, but it's a little bit on the janky side, and it's meant for, it's not meant for cheating, but it can be abused and used as cheating. Basically, you're like going to the console and you're like, progress quest to this point, whatever the command is, and it does it. But obviously, it can cause issues if you do it wrong, and blah. So today's film. Okay, now I was debating with myself this morning whether or not to go between Back to the Future, which is what we're going to be watching tonight, and Blade 3, and I did whatever I do whenever I get that sort of quandary, and I basically flipped a coin 3 times, and it came up with Back to the Future. So I think next week we'll probably go with Blade 3, because whilst the other films are on here at the moment, they won't be by next week, unfortunately. So it's one of those, like it says on here, it will leave in, sorry, let me keep an eye on the cat. It will leave in 5 days, which is like, pisser. But anyway, now this, in fact, kind of the trilogy in a way, although they're separate films, I kind of treat them as one film, just in 3 parts. And like in the same way you have like Lord of the Rings is like, generally got Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, and a lot of people consider it, as one whole part. Now, if I remember correctly with this one, they didn't originally envision it as a trilogy. I think they were just like they got kind of, oh no, this is actually doing pretty well. All right, we can proceed with the with the other stuff, because they filmed Back to the Future 2 and 3 at pretty much the same time, which if you ever watch the film, you can understand why. But this is surprisingly, I honestly thought it came out later. This film came out in '85. I was 9 when this film came out. I feel very, very old now. And it's rated as, on IMDb, as 8.5, which is very good for a sci-fi film. And what is it? The personal prime rating, personal prime ratings, the prime personal ratings is like, what, 4,179 people have voted and given it 4.5 stars. And this also is generally considered by many scientists, I suppose you could say. Well, obviously, now for the fact it is a sci-fi film, that this is considered by many to be probably one of the top tier films that involves time travel. And I am convinced that this film is one of the reasons why I have a fascination with the whole concept of it. Now, obviously, I didn't see this when it was 9. I probably saw it when I was about 10, maybe 11. Because this is pre-internet and everything else like that. But yeah, because actually, I probably saw it I probably did see it when I was about 10. Oh, I did not go to see this on my own. I'm pretty sure I went to go see it with my sisters or something, or maybe my mum. Possible, I don't know. But I know I didn't go on my own to see this, but I can remember seeing this in the cinema and just being, this looks so cool. Wait, they're going back. Oh, yeah. It's one of those sort of films that I have to kind of restrict myself from watching it, because even though it is probably my number one sci-fi film of all time, it's one I don't want to get burnt out on. So I do actually try to not watch it. But every so often it's like that urge just kind of just scratches the back of my brain and goes, you want to watch this, don't you? Yes you do. Okay, so now there's a few interesting facts. I say facts, there may be factoids on this one. About this one, which does make me giggle. The original concept for the time machine, okay, I'm trying to think how to describe it. I'm trying to. Does it just? No, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right, okay. The original concept for the time machine was not a car. It was not a DeLorean. It was a fridge. It was supposed to be a. Now we're not talking a small little, one-person type fridge. We're talking the big, chunky fridges. Those big, huge, massive, steel-plated things that you could break your arm on and things like that. And if you let go, the door would automatically swing closed because they were that frigging heavy and stuff like that. Until it was very correctly pointed out that if they did that, they could get into a lot of trouble with kids getting into the fridge to try and time travel. I mean, they would travel in a way, but just from life to death. Because these fridges that they were thinking of using are the big, heavy ones that would close and there'd be like a clamp on the outside. So if somebody got in there and it closed, you probably wouldn't want to be getting out. Now, the reason why I mention it is because there's been a couple of other references to that particular thing in pop culture over the years. One was in Fallout, the TV show, which in itself was a nod towards another film that used it. And do you know which film it was? Which Fallout was making a it's like we're doing a homage nod towards that. I'm gonna have a little quick drink for a moment whilst you have a think about it. It was Indiana Jones. Yeah, the fridge scene from Indiana Jones. I want to say the fourth one. Yeah, it was the fourth one. Yeah. 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 Yeah, this film has influenced so many things, like people growing up and stuff like that, that you don't really realise until later that it's like, oh, that's where it came from, sort of thing. And I have to say as well, Christopher Lloyd, Crystal Skull, that's the one. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it was. I knew it was the fourth one, but I couldn't remember the title. Last thing before we start, because this fact always amuses me. Christopher Lloyd, the eminent Doc Brown in this film, obviously creator of the Time Machine. This is one of two films in which a machine he owns is used to time travel. A shiny gold star and much glory to you if you can figure out, or if you know, without Googling, what the other film is. And again, I'm going to have another drink because I'm really thirsty and I need to hydrate because I've been a naughty boy and not drunk much over the last couple of days. And I'm paying the price. I've given you a clue already. It does make me laugh. Okay. I'm not going to read out the intro blurb. It's Back to the Future. You know what it is. Before... No. It's not Buckaroo Banzai. Christopher Lloyd, before we start, because this cracks me up so much, Christopher Lloyd once played a Klingon. In a very particular Star Trek film. I'll give you more of a clue. Search for Spock. You played the Klingon captain whose ship was borrowed for going back to Earth to save some whales. So yeah. Yeah, the whole joke about, what was it, you know, if I had it, oh, don't worry about it. It's one of those it's one of those little ones that people tend to forget, but when you tell them, they're like, oh yeah, because a lot of people don't recognise him in that film. He's so well got lots of makeup on. But yeah, Kirk, I think his character's name is. Yeah, he plays the captain who captains the Klingon ship, which gets renamed to the HMS Bounty, and is used in Star Trek IV to save the whales. Which, like I say, it's oh. Well, apparently, looking at the trivia page here, Christopher Lloyd stated he always wanted to do one more movie in which Marty and Doc Brown go back to ancient Rome. Oh god, that would have been hilarious if they'd have done that. How? That would have... especially if they end up in somewhere like Pompeii or something like that, you know, where... because that's the one that people most recognise, and like there's a disaster coming, like... Ooh, that would have been interesting. Okay. Right, get your butts ready. I'm going to do a 5-second lead in as before. Excuse me. There. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Now, there's going to be a lot of faces in this that you will recognise. Also, yeah, flashing images, violence, alcohol use, smoking, and foul language. But I freaking love this film. Also, the soundtrack is just perfection. This is actually one of the few ones I would say that, personally speaking, I would have rated this as a 9 out of 10, not an 8.5. But, you know, everyone's allowed their individual opinions, which is good. Oh, yep, Steven Spielberg. Robert Zemeckis. Oh, that classic logo. But Robert Zemeckis has gone on record with the saying that as long as he is alive, there will never be a remake of Back to the Future. And he will probably put it like in his will or something like that, that they won't do anything. And I completely agree with him. It doesn't need a remake. Leah Thompson, who went on to direct an episode of Picard involving time travel, which made me giggle. Yeah, I completely agree with him in saying that, yeah, it does not need a remake. Not at all. Not at all. A remaster? Yes. A remake? No. Now, this is one of the ones where paying attention to stuff that happens in the background. He was in Buckaroo Banzai. That's the name. Honestly, I completely forgot about Buckaroo Banzai. John Big Booty. It just clicked. That is a great name. John Big Booty. And there is obviously comparisons that people have said that this is also kind of the inspiration for Rick and Morty. Just, at least the characters are, at the very least. Well, not inspiration, but influence. Like, especially like in the original concept. Obviously now it's completely different, but back in the day. Ew. It's like Wallace and Gromit gone very badly wrong. Missing plutonium. This one goes up to 11. I mean, Doc's basically created a sonic weapon in this. Oh, that hum. Yeah. How to destroy your eardrums. Gee, that's the size of that speaker. Somewhere there's a Slaneshi noise marine going. Continue. And again, to say, this. I still to this day think that the DeLorean, from a visual point of view, is an excellent car design. However, internally and its electronics and stuff like that, it's one of the worst car designs. And it's also the reasons why, if you ever watch my Cyberpunk playthrough, one of the mods I got was the DeLorean. Like I said, I freaking love this film. It is one of my favourites. That's a lot of clocks. Like I say, the soundtrack. I cannot hear this song from Huey Lewis without thinking about this film. Ah, money. Seriously, just the soundtrack to this. And I think I was like just the right age to watch this in the cinema. I think that might have been Robert Zemeckis or someone, because I know there's quite a few cameos in this film. Oh, he is such a. Now, do you recognise that gentleman there with the megaphone? Pinhead. And if you haven't recognised him, the guy at the microphone, that guy to get there, next to the dude in the red jumper, that's Huey Lewis. As in Huey Lewis in the News. As in the guy who wrote the song that Marty was just playing and what we were just listening to. That's Huey Lewis. It's literally his music. Marty. Not when your girlfriend's standing right next to you, you silly little lad. Reminds me of that bit in Wayne's World when he sees the guitar. Now, if I remember rightly, I can't remember why, but they changed the actress uh, who plays Jennifer. I can't remember why, but I know they changed the actress between one and one and two. Can't remember why. Again, you can just hear that music in the background as well. Took me a long time to realise that the reason why they put 555 in films is so that it doesn't become like a real number. Then it's like basically if you see 555 at the beginning of a number in a film, especially from American stuff, it's a fake number. Because obviously, as you can imagine, if it was like a main film, then people would be calling it, which they do sometimes, for like marketing and stuff like that, which is a good idea. Now, Biff Tannen. If you've ever seen Back to the Future 2, you will know exactly why I'm laughing. Because of, shall we say, a certain individual in the White House. I did hear rumours, maybe true, maybe not, that what's his name? Thomas Wilson, the guy who's playing Biff right now, apparently did model how he behaved after a certain individual. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Like, less than a minute, and you're introduced to the character, and you know the sort of person he is, and you already hate him. Again, Thomas Wilson plays Biff amazingly well. Wow. I know this film's obviously was set in 1985, but they do such a good job of setting up the characters. Like, their personality types, the way they would generally act, you know, the sort of family dynamics. Hmm. Now, why would she mention that? Yeah, she said that story like, yeah, that's such a teenager. Like, oh god, if I hear the story again, I'm going to kill someone. And he's more interested in the TV. Like, yeah. Yep. Woken up in that position a couple of times myself. Like, why am I a pretzel? Not fully dressed like that, but you know, in that position, sure. Ah, look, 1:16 a.m. So it took him about half an hour or so to get there to the Twin Pines Mall. Ah, there's so many iconic moments in this scene. Yeah, definitely remember seeing this in the cinema, and I pretty much had the same expression as Marty. It was like, the fudge. There she is. If ever I win the lottery, I'm getting one of those. Obviously, without the working flux capacitor, but I want it to be movie accurate. Yeah, and can you see a possible problem with the DeLorean right there? Straight away. One major problem. The doors. It's such a freaking iconic design. I'm so glad they didn't go to fridge design. Honestly, that in itself, the remote control is very. I think Doc Brown is a genius. He's just slightly unhinged. Sorry, just brings back a lot of happy memories. This film for me. Like I say, so many iconic moments just in this scene alone. Yeah, you better hope you haven't got the calculations wrong. And I love that they don't explain why that happens. It's just, it's time travel. When? If you think about it logically, Einstein isn't the first time traveler. If you think about it logically. Based on the based on how the film series goes, who is the first time traveler? Just based on the all three Back to the Future films, who is the first? Damn it! This film definitely scratches that part of my brain. He's a good boy. Oh, even that sound. Oh, that's again that. Oh, I've always wondered, what's the limit? How far back can they go? Like, is it like the further back they go, the more energy is used? Again, I like how that he never explains how it works. It's just exactly. It's just like this makes it work, and we move on. He has such a perfect expression for Doc Brown. Plutonium. It's like Yep. It requires power. There's so many bits and pieces in this film that I just absolutely adore. I mean, it's not a perfect film, but to be fair, it doesn't try to be. Wait, 25 years into the future from 1985 would be 2010, which is quite humbling, I think. Hmm. Ah, Einstein's got a little radiation suit on. Oh shit. Hmm. If he hadn't reacted. I think on a straight line though, I do think. Oh, that's not going to cause a problem, is it? Yeah, I do think on a straight line, I think the DeLorean would outrun the van, but they're not on a straight line. Also, that sound of the DeLorean's engine, it just orally, it just does something to my brain. Makes brain go happy. Also, the music. Oh, when that thing kicks in. Oh shit. Yep, see? Instantaneous. So, as I was saying before, if we go chronologically speaking, the first time traveler in the Back to the Future universe is in fact Marty, and it's not because of this time travel trip here. I mean, kid's not wrong, especially when this happens. And then that gets out. No. Meanwhile, the cow's like, "Do you mind?" Yeah, he's had an interesting few minutes. I still honestly think they could bring out. Oh yeah, your home hasn't even been built. That's gonna mess with your head. But yeah, I honestly think that if they brought out a car that looked like the old DeLorean, but with modern day tech, internals, and all the other gubbins and stuff like that, I legit think it would sell. If anything, for the nostalgia. Oh dear. If anything, for the nostalgia factor alone. Because there would be a generation people like around my age, maybe those with disposable income would be like, oh, Rontgens, yes, I know what that refers to now. Basically, radiation. Like you've got no more active plutonium left. And of course, you've got the whole the 50s vibe, which again, Fallout does draw heavily from, which I think works really freaking well for it. Now, I have to say that from a aesthetic point of view, I think the way things looked in that time frame, like the way the cars were designed, the clothing, things like that, absolutely spot on. However, a ridiculous amount of bigotry and racism. And I don't just mean in America, I mean in the UK as well. But from the music, the I don't want to say a golden age because it wasn't, but let's say just from a pure visual point of view, like how things looked. But yeah, all that, the racism and the bigotry, no thank you. And all the other isms, the sexism, the homophobia, and the working clock tower. A working clock tower. Well, that's a lie. November 5th, 1955. Another reason why I absolutely adore this trilogy of films is the callbacks in Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3 without being you know sort of they know that they're callbacks and they immediately turn around and go, yeah, this is what you think it is. Like, yes, we're referencing this. And I think as well, this is one of the sort of films that for people who, what's the word? Yeah, he means Pepsi, sugar free. Oh, that's synchronization. Seems like things haven't changed. And I gotta say, as somebody who was bullied as a kid, especially because I was small for my age, even I can just think it's like George is such a wuss. like, go on, dude, stand up for yourself. He's just realised who it is. It's like, no, like he's just got over the fact, or getting over the fact that he's back in the past, and now he's just realised. Hmm. Now here's an interesting thought. Would he have thought about becoming a mayor if Marty hadn't told him? Is this a predestination paradox? I mean, from Marty's point of view, he would. But has he changed? I mean, even just by being here, he's changed things. Temporal mechanics. So at least this film is logically consistent, which I will, you know, he, he's been a naughty boy. It's almost as if Lorraine telling that story to the kids at the beginning of the film was plot relevant. Dude's got a concussion. Should have been taken to a hospital. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. When people watch this for the first time and they suddenly figure it out, it's like, oh no. Like, I mean, from her point of view, you know, young lad at her age, been rescued. She's getting all lovey-dovey over him. Meanwhile, he knows who it is, and now has the fear. Now, obviously, from her point of view, this is all fine, but obviously, we and by proxy, Marty, almost like he likes being behind bars. And the thing is, any other time this would be a nice wholesome family meal, having a dinner with his grandparents and uncles and aunts and stuff like that, and his mum. However, that's the thing, back then the TV set, even a black and white one like that, was not. It's like, yeah, maybe you do. He's got to be so careful. Oh no. Again, having meta knowledge of this film, like as the audience, I think is what adds to it as well. But oh, it's like, oh yeah. Mm. Oh, I love this film so much. Oh, there we go. I read somewhere that the thing with Doc's inventions is they all actually do work, but they all have one fatal flaw in them. Hmm. Yeah, it kind of went downhill from there. America had Reagan, we had Thatcher. Again, it don't even explain how the flux capacitor works. It just does, which is great. You don't need it for a film like this. It's just like, how does it do it? Like that. Okay. Yeah. And Doc's about to have his mind blown. Correction, it works the way you want it to work. That's the thing. Like Doc's, like, somebody said that Doc's mind reading thing would work, but only on another Doc or something stupid like that. Not quite. I mean, that's not. Hmm. That's a lot of power. I've just noticed he's got a dartboard there. Yeah, I mean, there is some logic to it. Yeah, yeah. I love the way they show that flyer. It's almost as if the film's just going, look! It also shows it to Marty as well, and there's the cue. Is it the thing? Sorry, I just point out randomly in the distance. Like, who are you pointing to, Doc? Oh, what, you know, like your mum developing a crush on you instead of for your father? Mm-hmm. Great Scott. Yeah. This is one thing I like about the whole Back to the Future stuff is that time changes, but there's you get like a brief window in which to fix it. I like how the school hasn't changed either, which is great. Uh-oh. Yeah, he just realised that he may have accident. Yeah. Yeah. This is like a... awkward. Like how he's like... how her friends are just basically turning around and going, oh, this is the Calvin you'll be talking about, Lorraine. What? I can remember younger me just laughing so much in the cinema at that joke. Because, as I say, I was big into the science. I still am. And for some reason, that joke just tickled me about. The whole thing about his mum having a crush on him just went completely over my head. The kid in the background. Almost like a parallel to Marty at the beginning with his music. It's like, I understand a bit about you now, Father. So I got chasing. One second. Be right back. Oh, he's such a freaking creep. Well, what makes me laugh is that. What I say makes me laugh is that, from all accounts, I forgot his name. Michael J. Fox and Thomas Wilson are apparently really good friends. Because it's like. IRL, and but people keep thinking that he doesn't like Marty or something like that. It's like, no, we're actually really good friends, and that is something I find very pleasing. Yes, he will. Nobody else on this planet, you say? Edward Van Halen. I understand why he was doing it, but it took me a while to understand why so many people were laughing at that particular scene. I mean, it's a good technique. See, see, the thing is, the reason why I like it from say somebody like Marty is because Marty's confident. You know, he's not a creep towards the ladies. Yeah, he's a for the most. He's not a perfect kid, but he's a good lad. Yeah. And he doesn't perv on the ladies like George did. So I'm just checking something on OBS. I'm getting some weird things here. One moment. So I was getting some weird things coming from OBS, though. So it was just a glitch. I think it was like a internet glitch or something. How the record stop? Ah. He's a big lad, isn't he? Another iconic scene. Now, again, that music. There's another fan hypothesis that whilst Marty didn't invent the skateboard, him showing them this in this time frame is what leads indirectly to the creation of the hoverboard. Because somebody sees it and goes, huh, starts to makes their own company, creates the hoverboard. Hasbro then buys out the patent for it, makes it more public, and you then get the hoverboard. Again, total fan hypothesis. I mean, that car is freaking. Oh, and thus begins an ongoing joke. That's a. No, Lorraine, no. Think with the primary brain. Honestly, Doc Brown has, and again, it's because of this film, 100%. whenever I think of this the stereotype of the unhinged scientist, I don't like saying crazy because that's a word that needs to just disappear as far as I'm concerned. But shall we say the mentally unbalanced, hyper focused scientist type? One of the reasons why I like him is because of this film. And it's also one of the reasons why, because when I was playing Uma Usai a few months back, a few weeks back I should say, why one of my favourite characters, whose visual design, again, was based off of Doc Brown. The fact they're also called Tachyon as well is and see, he's had like what, a day and a half, and he has made a really good freaking model of Hill Valley town centre in like hours. The dude's got talent. He's just, like I say, unhinged, unfocused. And yes, his inventions do work, just not the way he wants them to. With one exception. Two exceptions. The DeLorean. Hmm. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. I mean, he's playing along, but his expression is just like, yeah, what the hell? He is so expressive in this film, and I think it's one of the reasons why I love this film. Because he just, you know what the character's thinking without him having to say a word. So, oh, hello, Fuzzball. Oh, hello. Hi. So, oh, good. Hey. So, somebody's demanding her nightly cuddles. Hello. Hi. Hello, stinky butt. Right, look, come here. You got fluff on your face. Come here. Come here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You've been under the sofa again. I can tell because you've got fluff all over your face. Nice save, Marty. Mm. That's. I mean, yeah. It needs a little bit of work. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's. I mean, apart from the whole, he's going to have to make the moves on his mother. The whole punching him in the stomach is a good move because if you punch somebody in the head, you can give them a concussion. That can kill. Punching in the stomach would be unpleasant. There's so many fan hypotheses about this film that the real reason why the clock tower is balked isn't well, it is because of the lightning, but it's also because of what happens in this film. What's about you? Mm-hmm. And they address that in the second film, which is well, they kind of address it in this one as well. But it's like in the novelization of this, they go into it a little bit more about how dangerous even what we would consider to be a simple act, like Marty. Say for example, Marty going into like the cafe, for example, at the beginning. He buys, he buys himself he buys himself like a meal, relatively harmless. You think that then pushes the guy's profits over a certain amount, just like a few quid here and there. No, nothing much. But because of it, he's maybe got like a little bit of extra more money to do stuff later on, and that will have a knock-on effect. Now that could be a positive effect, or it could be a negative effect. You don't know. It could take someone's like profits for the year from say $9,990 to over 10,000, and psychologically that could mess with his, give them, give them the psychological boost they need to progress with their plans, and the butterfly effect. Small act now becomes bigger and bigger as you go further from it. Yeah, he's finding out that his straight-laced mother that he knew was not the person he thought she was when she was younger. Hmm. His expressions in this are just like almost permanent shock when dealing with her, which is perfect. Oops, you okay? Mm. Again, his French temper's like, what? Oh, blimey! He does such a good job in this film of like acting like a nervous teenager, but not for the reasons you think. Remember what his mum said at the beginning? She doesn't like girls who make the first move. No, no, that. So obviously, I assume that his reaction is that whole sort of. I'm just checking something. That's about the equivalent to $3,600 today. God, wrong choice of words, lads. The wrong choice of words. So, what, one, two, well, there was five of them there. That's how they suddenly. That's how they sort of turn tail and. Wow. Yeah, Biff really, really isn't a good lad. Yeah, it's one thing for stand up for yourself, but he's protecting someone else, so that's like. I think this scene is like it's a chef kiss. The punch that literally changes history. That's so satisfying. Because Biff is such a douchebag. And now George is absolutely buzzing with adrenaline and confidence. And there's the music again. Meanwhile, the entire school has just suddenly had their opinion of George McFly done a 180. I love that cut. Like, the look on Reggie's face as well. It's like, dude can play. I love the soundtrack to this. Sorry, somebody's demanding more cuddles, aren't you? I mean, have you conditioned me? Because she knows I'm a captive person at this point. Yep. I'll say for 1985, the effects there are like. Go on, George, do it. Like, I'm back. Seriously, this is like. And then with that sort of motif, the Back to the Future thing at the end. Oh, another iconic scene. And it's like, huh? Ah, the bootstrap paradox. And you'll find out why in a minute. Especially if you know who originally played this song. Honestly, I don't think any of the other movies quite managed to equal that moment. Exactly, yeah. It's just like perfection. I'll say it's not a perfect movie, but this is one of the few movies. Oh. Chuck Berry. Yeah, there's very few films I would rate as like 9.5 on my personal scale. This is one of them. The other being and by this one I mean the entire trilogy. The other being Lord of the Rings. All three. Everyone's going, that white boy's lost it. Dude's face is like, yeah, he's lost it. He took it just a little bit too far. Everyone's, what the Oh yeah, nah, nah. Oh yeah. Yes. Now, there's an awkward implication here. Okay. I went to. Hang on. So, obviously, they have kids because Marty's, picture tells them they're going to be safe and everything. Yeah. That as Marty grew up, that there was moments where George and Lorraine would look at him and be like, that kid looks familiar. Again, Doc's face is like, it's like the way he can just show you what he's thinking with just his eyes. And you know exactly what's going on in his brain. Now, here's an interesting fact for you. How many DeLoreans are in this time frame? Allowing for all three. Hello. Hi. How many are in this time frame? Allowing for all three films. Oh, again, that music, where that music's building. Oh. Okay, bye bye. Not bad, not bad. There's actually three. Two's a good guess, but there's actually three. There's this version. There's the one from Back to the Future 2, which Doc Brown is in when it gets struck by lightning. And then there's the one that's in the mine from 1885. But yeah, that relies on yourself if you got a fuzzy brain. But you want 100% right with two. Yeah, it's one of those weird ones that everyone thinks, oh yeah, there's two, but there's actually three. So, cat hair. I mean, obviously, technically speaking, they're all the same car. Technically. So you could... you was thinking of this one in the mine version. Yeah. Now, granted, the... Because remember, Marty comes back... and then he comes back again... with Doc, because obviously Doc's in the flying version, which gets struck by lightning in the same storm. So there's the two of them, And then when you think about it, you go, oh god. Thinking about time travel makes anyone go cross-eyed, so don't worry about it. But yeah. 3 temple echoes. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, sure. But like I say, it's also the same car. So the correct answer is either 1, if you think about the car being the same car just at different points along its personal timeline, or 3, if you accept that they are 3 separate entities. And it's another reason why I absolutely love this film series. Memory of Part 2 is well fuzz. That's fair enough, yeah. It's because there's a lot of backwards and, if you'll pardon the pun, because there's a lot of backwards and forwards, it can get a bit weird trying to figure out where things are. But yeah, the storm, this is the same storm. Again, it's why yeah. Now, a lot of people like Part 2 the favourite. Some people like Part 3 as their favourite. I honestly like all 3 of them equally. But I will admit that Part 3, I think, has one of my favourite sequences in it. Although I love the second Part 2. And the whole alternate splitting timeline stuff. God, this is a classic film for a reason. Wait. There we go. And again, I can remember watching this in the cinema, and like the split second before he said, I'm in a time machine, I was like, just go back earlier, you're literally sitting in a time... Oh, he just said what I was thinking. I think the psychology is focusing on... Yeah, that's very, very understandable. It's like the brain is going, yeah, don't cough your lungs up. I mean, I know when I get a bit ill myself, obviously not to that sort of level, but I know when I get ill myself, the brain, especially like my kidneys and stuff are playing up, the brain does not function fully. But yeah, as I was saying earlier in the film, the reason why, according to some people, why the clock tower is broken, it's not because of the lightning strike, it's because what Doc Brown's doing right now. You know, he breaks it or bends it just enough that it breaks. But of course, in the original OG timeline, it still got broken. So how does it get... Yeah. Like I say, it was a fan hypothesis, but it didn't... There were some problems with it because of that, but... Okay. Oh dear. Kinetic maintenance. The second rule of IT support. The first being turn it on and off and on again. So you think about it, this is really the point, if I remember correctly, where the flying DeLorean gets struck by lightning around this time period. Because obviously Marty gets back just after he goes into the future again. The English language is not equipped to deal with time travel grammar. Hello. Hi. Oh, I love this music. Yeah, that storm, that's when the flying version gets struck. Oh, you're damp. $88 miles per hour. And the thing is, now Doc has 100% even more proof that he needs to work on his time machine for the next 30 years. Because if he doesn't, the space-time continuum's going to tell him off. Plus, you've got absolute perfection proof that, I mean, that's justifiable. I was so... Oh, part of my brain was so expecting to see Marty run around the corner. This is one of the reasons why I treat all three films as part of the same, basically, part 1, part 2, part 3. And again, I love that they don't explain why the DeLorean has fire trails or there's free sonic booms when it exits the well, basically when it does time travel. Like why does it do that? Why not? And the funny thing is, the DeLorean being temperamental like that is one of the reasons why it didn't sell to her, because its internal electronics was not great. Still a great looking car though. Very 80s look to it. And yet you've just left the DeLorean open, you know. Eric. There's a reason why I laughed. Can you guess why? See, now in this time frame, there's 2 DeLoreans. There's the one over there, and there's the one parked back in Hill Valley, the High Street. So there's also going to be one of the people I think there's 2 because they're thinking of this scene. Yeah. For those of you who haven't spotted it, the reason why I laughed was because of the mall sign. It now says Lone Pines Mall, not Twin Pines Mall. Okay, now there's only one DeLorean. I think. Yeah, because he... Yeah. Although, again, technically speaking, it's the same DeLorean. Yeah. It's one of those sort of things, it's subtle, like not really in your face, and it makes logical sense why they do it, but it's like, yeah. Lone Pines Mall. Hmm? 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 There's also one of the reasons why they made the joke about this always to be belonging to Peabody. Yeah, he was in 95. Yeah, he goes to about 2010, 2011. I'm disappointed we don't have our flying... Well, flying cars would be a bad idea right now. But I'm disappointed we don't have our hoverboards. Where's my hoverboard? Back to the Future Overture just, again, just makes my brain happy. Again, I'm glad they don't explain why it does it. It just is. Oh, a more Huey Lewis there. Back in time. Oh, you're watching it? She's watching it with me. She's doing that thing where she sits on one of my legs and just watches the film with me. Yeah, dude, he's going to have a shower. Come on. Oh. Oh. That's one heck of a breakfast. Like, was it croissants, strawberries? Yeah. Like, wait. Wait. His brain's broken. Such a change from the beginning of the film. Like, like such a 180 on his person. Well, not complete 180, but with regards to George, it's a 180. Like, he's still a dick to everyone else, but George, he is terrified of. Like, obviously family by extension as well, but yeah, to everyone else he's still a douchebag, but to the McFly family, it's a nice truck. I won't lie, that's a nice looking truck. Bit too big for me. Obviously I can't drive, but you know, that is a nice truck. A week and 30 years, technically. Could have gone so much worse. Which is what they show in Back to the Future 2, just how bad it could have got. probably one of the most amazing bits of technology right there, apart from the time machine. Yeah, put the time machine, the DeLorean to one side for a minute. The Mr. Fusion is an incredible bit of technology. Going roads. Now, just picture 9, 10-year-old Chris in a cinema. Just sitting there. Having watched probably one of the best films of his life. And then having that as the ending. Yeah, I was a that from what I can. Part of me wishes, well, part of me wishes I could like speak to my parents about how I was watching this. All I can remember was I got very, very excited and apparently would not shut up about this film. Yeah. This is, like I say, it is literally my favourite. Again, I'm counting all three, my favourite sci-fi film of all time. And it's also one of the reasons, like I said at the beginning, why I don't watch it too often. Because, I pretty much know this film inside and out. I watch it whenever I get that sort of mental itch. And I know what it was as well. One of the reasons why I was, one of the reasons why I kind of incepted myself about this. I was working on a new PDF thing about Technobabble and testing some of the combinations of things that it can output. And one of the combinations that come up was about something about the fluctuating quantum drive is now fluctuating. And my immediate reaction was just like, that sounds like that scene from Back to the Future. When he's talking about I can't remember which one it was in, either this or number 2, or it was one of them where Marty says something along the lines of, flux capacitor is fluxing, or something like that. And I incepted myself. So that idea of Back to the Future has been in my head for like the last 4 to 5 days. And then earlier on, one of friends of Blue Sky was like, ask me 5 questions. And I immediately went, what's your favourite sci-fi film? Again, put it into my head again. And one of their favourites in their top 5 is the Back to the Future series. So double incepted myself. And when I saw it only had like a few days left, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I've got it on DVD. I've got all 3 of them on DVD and everything else as well. So, and I think I've still got one of the old VHS somewhere, possibly. It's probably up in my attic, absolutely rotted away. But yeah, there is a multiple reason. Ain't no Technobabble like 80s Technobabble. Exactly, yeah. And yeah, like I say, it's not a comfort film for me. Because it's not when I watch when I'm depressed or anything. This is when I watch when I'm in a good mood. And I just want to watch a film that, without realising it, not in a major way, but it definitely influenced me as I was growing up. Because I think this is one of the first few films I got. Like, not necessarily, I mean, some bits did make me feel a bit like, why is he kissing his mum like that sort of thing? But the whole basic concept of, wait a minute, he's going back in time, so something's going to change in the like. I could understand the concept of it, and I didn't have to have thing. And yeah, this is obviously way before I even found out I was on the autism spectrum as well. So yeah, it kind of lodged its part in my brain that says, you're going to like this sort of thing for the rest of your life. That and Doctor Who as well. You know, growing up in the 80s in the UK, you had Doctor Who, and that was something we watched quite often in our family. The whole thing with time travel. So I'm trying to remember where else it came out as well. There was another series, but I can't remember if it came out in the what's it? When it came out in when it came out, I want to check something first. I need to check something. Yeah. 4 years later, another one of my favourite, and again, one of the reasons, and I think this film kind of primed me for it, one of my favourite TV shows that I absolutely loved to watch, Quantum Leap. Because it was about time travel. In a interesting kind of way. Great series. Well, not everybody's cup of tea, I'll admit. But it was one of my... I'm just stop that. It was one of my... When I saw what it was, and obviously I would have been like, yeah, so what, about 13, 14, again, really starting to get into sci-fi and things like that. So when I saw about what Quantum Leap was about, and I got even the slightest whiff that it had time travel as a basic... That's it, Quantum Leap, yeah. Friggin' loved Quantum Leap. I know they haven't remade it. Kind of remade it. But it's sort of a sequel. I haven't been able to get around to watching it because I've not found anywhere that's had it. But it isn't anywhere that I can get access to. But it's kind of a remake, but also kind of a sequel at the same time. I won't go into the details of it, but let me just say that there is only 2 episodes in sci-fi where I have absolutely hated, and I mean capital H, hated the ending episode. The series I absolutely loved, especially towards the end when they started bringing in extra stuff. That's when it started to get really good. The whole, the whole premise, like with sci-fi stuff, when they get good after like sort of season 2 or 3, because they can start experimenting and trying out new things, and it just gets really good. But yeah, the last episode of Quantum Leap got me really freaking angry. Let's just say, if the internet was like it is today, I would have been on the social medias absolutely ripping it apart. And even, to be fair, Scott Bakula turned around and went, yeah, he did not like that last episode. And then, and this is not Scott Bakula's fault, unfortunately, he then stars in Enterprise, which was another show that I actually quite liked. It had flaws, but it got much better as it got along. And it has, in my opinion, another ending that really got me angry. It is rather unfortunate they both happen to have the same main star in it, Scott Bakula. It was Star Trek Enterprise. Oh, interesting. I'm going to have a look into that. I am definitely going to have a look into that. That's good to know. That is very good to know. I'm getting distracted. I need a shower because I'm stinky, and a certain cat wants my yeah, the final episode. Especially because of I can feel my blood pressure rising, so I'm going to leave on a positive note. I'm just going to say that, yeah, Enterprise and Quantum Leap, great shows, really good. Start off a bit rough, I would admit, but they get so good later on. They really do. Just skip the last episodes for both of them. Just sort of pretend they don't exist. With that, I'll be back next week with some more Fallout. Now I've sorted out that issue with it. And I'll see everybody then. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.